Welcome back to another video. My name is Lethal Baby, and today we are heading off into the quarterfinals. We're watching Mar007BR face off against the great Rockgeneration, arguably a top 5 player, and already starting things off hot in a Decimus matchup for the quarterfinals. Here we are stepping up the series. It is going to be a best of 5. Again, we haven't seen Rockgeneration play in quite some time, but he is definitely a top 5 to a top 7 player. No arguably or doubts there. He's proven himself time again. Again, we were seeing Mar versus Rockgeneration, best of 5, Bedrock, Frontier, Rift, Mirage, then Vault. Same rules applied. No node strat, no Vortis, no repeats. 60-minute timer, no 30-second delay. I mean, a 30-second DC rule with a 2-minute delay. This will be a Gen 3rd build out of Rockgeneration. Sent 2 forward units. Again, a defensive chopper is going to give him massive sight lines here to see if anything's going to be able to try to steal or overextend on his respective side. Going to pick up his first mini off to the side. Again, I'm curious to see what these players are going to opt in for. Again, you're seeing a top 5 player. We saw another respective top 10 player, EOD Spartan Seb, face off against Sorrenti. That's going to end up in a 2-1 and a best of 3 in round number 2 here. But we're now sitting in the quarterfinals. And Mar's got to play a top player who's returning into the scene here. That's going to be a Gen 5th after picking up one respective node. Both players have taken a lot of their home resources. Mar is sitting on a Council 5th. Curious to see what these players are going to opt in for. Again, this is a mirror. Normally you're going to want to see a lot of grunt spam. No choppers in this mix. Definitely going to see a War Council coming out of Mar007BR. Both these players have the exact same toolkit. And they're playing in against a beefy series of best of 5. Second gen set is being upgraded now. Rock spending every single dollar that he can. Definitely an on-time build. Again, the top players knows his pathing, knows his builds. Hasn't queued up any other units concurrently at the moment. Spending every single dollar. This is definitely some difference in gameplay here. Everything is on time. We don't see any floating whatsoever. Brents looks like it's going to be the fill for Rockgeneration as he begins his pump here at 2 minutes and 25 seconds. To push on up to get a gander. Take a gander. Check out what Mar007BR is going to do. He's going to notice that leader off the rip and see how he responds to it. Check to see if Rock is playing controller. Playing controller. Keep him busy, getting some information. Saw the leader for sure. So take a next guess. He's not going to guess on what's going on. He's actually going to scout. Damn, Rock is playing quick. Rock's trying to get some map control here. See him click T2 there, and that's going to be clicked at 223. The center is going to be filled with a leader. Grunts are trying to rally on in respectively for Mar007BR. He now has his leader upgraded. Jump pack brutes on the side. Second gen is being set. Going to push on up and get a little aggressive here. Rock's going to be in T2 in 10 seconds. Rack's being set off to the side. Apex off to the side as well. No racks at home for Rock. Does have one turret. Here's to see what this push is going to entail. One brute, 2 brutes are in the mix. Leaders here in the mix as well. NG in the sky. Leader rallied in. Second NG comes out as well. Y ability comes down from the Decimus respectively for Mar. 48 pop versus 33. All of the nodes have been taken by Mar in the center of the map. Turret's going to fall. Let's see what Rock is pumping off to the side, and that's going to be the choice of Rangers. Trying to spare the NGs. Aggressive gameplay here. That's going to be 3rd point for both players as this push is beginning from Mar007BR. One Ranger is going to rally on in. It's going to jump into the garrison and start poking at some units here. One Harvester is going to fall for Rockgeneration. A lot of brutes here. NGs are three NGs are soaring on in to try to keep these gens alive. The back extractor is in danger and dire. 3 nodes to 1. 52 pop versus 52 pop. We are now seeing red opt in for the first leader power. That's going to be a vortex focusing the leaders. The NGs are healing on the back end. Ranger gets pulled. Active Siphon dropped in as a leader point. Rock Generation doing a great job staying calm here. This is a lot of that's finally Blue's beam coming down, and look at those splits by Rock. Mar getting a little desperate, used it mainly just to take down that to guarantee that gen drop. And Rock staying calm, cool, and collected here under this aggressive push. He did lose 2 slots. He's doing a great job picking on up the rest of these units here. Again, that leader is the problem. Let's take a look back at home for Mar007BR, who's 20 seconds out from being in T2. Still continuing the pressure here. Again, 3 nodes to 1. He's trying to do some damage, but these NGs are making a world of a difference here. These Rangers are picking up these units, and NGs are keeping them alive. Again, he lost 1 generator and 1 supply pad thus far. His extra extractor is in a little bit of a dire position, but it looks like he's going to hold. Production buildings off to the side. Going to be able to replace that generator here pretty soon, but he now has T2 units. Desperately trying to chase that leader, using the NG for some vision. And that leader, that vet 1 unit leader, is going to fall here. Rock is looking in a great position to be able to take some map control. Going to have to turtle up a little bit here by Mar, who did take 1 generator, but threw everything that he built for the first 4 minutes in that push here. Enough Rangers on the field to deal with any T1 units, infantry units out of Mar007BR. No second jet set from Rock Generation. He's going to be able to nab these 3 back. And what a hold by Rock. Staying calm, cool, collected, rallying in his Rangers, splitting them enough. Reacting to that that beam was definitely crucial. And that's the difference between top 5 player and 99% of the Halo Wars community. You're now seeing 4 nodes for Rock Generation, saving up a little bit of yellow here to get that second generator rebuilt and upgraded. Sightline set down from Mar007BR to get some eyes on that expansion on Rock's respective right-hand side. But Mar's got to turtle up a little bit here. Doesn't look like he's opting in for too many counter units off the bat. Trying to rally them in now. He only has a total of 2 Rangers, well 3 Rangers, and a couple of stuns. Be able to pick 1 Ranger there from Rock. Then we're watching a Desi mirror. We saw Rock try to get into tech, build his population with some NGs and Rangers. These NGs are definitely going to make the world of a difference in this 40% buff, defensive buff here as this engagement goes down. Rock's sitting in a great spot here. He's got a little bit of everything. That Warlord is back in the mix. He's going to back on up. Boundless Siphon is kicked down in for Rock Generation. As respectively for Mar as well. He's going to pull a couple units and get a slam off. 41 pop versus 57. Active Siphon is popped. Rock's going to be forced to back on up. He's picking every single free Ranger that he can. NGs are making a difference. Rock's going to pop his Vortex to try to pick this Ranger. He's trying to keep his NGs alive. Going to be pulled by the leader that's now in T2. Already burned his slam. That Reaver's is the problem here. It's going to be focused. Try to jump it away. Again, that Boundless Siphon making this all that much more difficult for both of these players. The Reaver's getting microed and be backing on up. 46 pop versus 36. Rock is now floating a ton of yellow, running out of blue. A lot of back and forth here. Mar with the cheeky expo. He has that sightline for it, and he decided to overextend with that expansion. That's not something Rock's going to be able to go and scout unless he naturally tries to expand on that side. Marauder's now pumping in here to try to fill the population. 42 pop versus 51. Let's take a look back at home for for Mar007BR. Again, he hasn't upgraded all of his macro slots. He hasn't had full map control for quite some time, and he's still pumping some counter units here and holding front center with this Decimus leader. Again, Boundless Siphon makes this difficult for both of these players to try to clean up each other's armies. Marauders are going to be filled on in for Rockgeneration. Banshees in the sky as well. A lot of blue units here. It's going to be very costly for Rockgen. 3 points of production. Now realizes he has to expand here pretty soon. Rock is now in T3. I lied. He's had that node control for quite some time. Got to T3. He's going to get some Wraiths on in here pretty soon. So Wraith and Banshee are definitely going to be the choice of units here. All of his macro has been upgraded. Gonna decide to expand here. He's finally gonna get a cue that this expansion is here. And Mar desperately needs this expansion here. He's coming on the cusp of 5th point here, and he's definitely gonna want to utilize that Decimus drop. But he's gonna have a long day here as these Wraiths start to rally on in. Rock spending every single dollar, doing a ton of base damage here. A beam comes down. Rock's paying attention. He's going to split out of it. Lose one Marauder, possibly a second. He's going to trade it for an expansion. All the blue units are now rallying on in again with that overextended expansion. Rock's respective beam is coming down here as well. Leader Slam comes down. Wraiths are in the mix, and a lot of back and forth here. That leader is the problem thus far. That's the main unit that's doing a lot of damage. A lot of core units of Rock have fallen. Those Marauders are going to fall. One Wraith gets pulled in. One is shields pop. 45 pop versus 44. And both of these players trying to save up for their Desi drop that is now in the pocket for Mar007BR, who's a little farther ahead in leader points. Vortex comes down to stop some of the damage from the units to try to get in some free damage as well. Trying to focus the leader here, and that's the Desi drop for blue. He's going to pop the Y ability immediately, and both of these leaders are here now. Definitely going to be a problem for Rock here. No shield on the back end for Rock. He's saving up his 1,000 and 1,000 to be able to drop his own leader respectively in, and that's going to be popped right in the center of the two leaders. Y ability comes down. He's going to be able to take out the core leader that is built out of the armory. Now the Desi drop is in peril. Rock did what he needed to do. He was able to deny that expansion. Is still holding on to two nodes. It's tied leader slots. Points of production and slots. But let's check to see if he's still in T2 from pumping all of those counter units. And is nowhere near T3. Active Siphon is set as he still tries to challenge here as these T3 units along with that beefy leader is up front and center here. Scorch Tremendor popped from Rockgeneration to do some damage. Hunter on the high ground along with the Reaver. NG's in the sky as well. Rock's leader's shields are not popped. 75 pop versus 61, and Rock is just continuously pumping these Wraiths. What a great micro. Weak unit taking it away, putting his stronger units, healthier units towards the front. Take a look back at him for Rock. If he's still in the same exact position, hasn't upgraded all of his macro just quite yet, but still filling his population with these Wraiths here. And this is kind of everything. Wow, that Y ability popped one more time. Great micro coming out of Rock. Pretty much dodged it. Took a little bit of damage on that front Wraith, but this is everything here for Mar. He's not in T3. He doesn't have the units to be able to fight Wraiths, and his wombo combo, his bang for his buck, is going to be dropped here. Another Y ability coming out of Rockgeneration. 73 pop versus 46. And a lot of two different approaches here, but Rock looks like he's looking in a great position to be able to close out this game number 1 of the best of 5 series. Soared his way to T3, started pumping these tanks, filled in his pop with Marauders after the counter units. None of these players do have a respective expo for quite some time. Mar picked up his a little early, but that was scouted by Rock and was denied. Now Rock is finally able to expand at the 14-minute mark, sitting at 78 population. Finally upgrading the rest of his macro, 2 points of production. taking map control here as his Decimus is still fully shielded and has got more than 2/3 of health. And Rock, a top 5 player, showing his knowledge off here in this game number 1, facing off against the ever so... A beam comes down. The ever so infamous, and the counter beam comes down, or counter vortex. Be able to stop some of the damage there. Glassing beam is back online for Rockgeneration. Probably going to see that pop here as well. Scorch Mortar is just completely annihilating all of the units here. Some counter units trying to pick up some hunters. I mean, it's the counter units that are hunters are trying to pick up a couple of wraiths. Rockgeneration floating a ton of eco currently at the moment.
They send infantry to attack me.
Rock just doing some population control here. At 62 pop versus 34, and now we look at Mars Bank. He's floating a lot of yellow, but has no more eco due to these couple of macro slots that are not upgraded. And this one unit is so oppressive. He lost his own oppressive unit, and he cannot deal with it now. Boundless Siphon, T3 units on the field, Reavers in the sky. Just hard spot for Mar here, and he's gonna have to tap on out. This Rock's gameplay is just going to be a little too much as we head on over to Frontier for game number 2. Started off things spicy in a Decimus mirror, and what a game. Right, kick things off in game number 2 here. Rock opting in for Shipmaster again. If played correctly without the node strat, these elite leaders still can shine very well on this map. The same approach is going to be taken, trying to get into T2 and get those counter units. He's now facing off against a Forge pick, what we saw Mar pick up last time for his Frontier pick. He opted in to play Forge, definitely one of his, probably his best leader in his toolkit. Opened up the exact same way. That's going to be a Gen 2nd build. Rabbit to try to take some gas off to the side. We see 3 grunts already sword top middle from Rockgeneration, who's hunting some units here. Opening double supply pad and a double grunt opener. And he's immediately just trying to hunt down some grunts. Some very aggressive gameplay here. It's probably going to throw Mar off. Yeah, no node strat, no Vortis, 60-minute timers, no repeated leaders. Mar open up in an aggressive fashion here. Wants to take that yellow, but he can't just quite yet. The last-minute decision to overextend, maybe possibly put himself in a position to take a mini. Taking his gas at home. Hasn't taken his opponent's gas quite yet. Rock is now sending down a double gen without picking up any minis, taking a lot of blue on the map. Challenging for the yellow off to the side. Rabbit's going to get majority of it. Rock doubling back on the back end. Pick up his first mini possibly. First mini is going to be an overextended global rally point set from blue. Armory finally being set down 5th. Has enough eco to be able to pick it up or queue that leader ASAP. Rock's to secure a lot of that yellow off to the side. Setting himself up in a great position to get into T2 here. A very aggressive opener. He's going to throw Mar's build off just a little bit. He's still going to rely on that trusty leader to come on out and save him. 10 population versus 15, sitting at the 2-minute and 20-second mark. 3 minis, 4 minis now in favor of Rock, spending every single dollar, giving his opponent to look at something while he tries to get into T2.
Harvester constructed.
Every single dollar is now pretty much halfway T2 now.
Their infantry is targeting us.
Being able to queue it on up. Forge is barely coming on out. 3 minute and 45 second mark. Only 1 mini and a Rax for respectively for Mar. Who's going to try to bound on forward here. Rock's going to continue replacing all of these extra slots with supply pads as he tries to get himself into T2. Now 70% of the way.
Harvester constructed.
Every second is dire here for Mar. He has to take this map control to be able to contest and keep up, because as soon as those counter units come out for a banish, it's going to be a long day for UNSC to try to contest. UNSC has to have its foot down a banished throat as early as possible. 1 node taken from Mar. Rock has a global rally point set. Rock now clicking on T2, 30 seconds out. You have 4 minute T2. Another 30 seconds after that before we start seeing that counter unit production start to trickle on out. Mar's taking 1 node. He has his leader forward to take the second, and he's now going to prioritize trying to clear up his side of the map.
I'm under fire from air unit. Our base is under attack.
Rock's got 2 turrets coming on up. Rock's eco is trying to feather itself out. He upgrades another macro slot. We do see a forward rack set here. An Elite Ranger is queued on it. Let's see if Mar has no idea what's going on with Rock. He will only know that he's in T2 if he sees that Ranger pop on out. 60 population versus 24, but again, those are opening core units for Mar007BR. Base is locked up top, second Rex being set at home. Apex, the exact same approach. Engineers are coming on out. That's going to help keep his units nice and healthy and alive. Apply that debuff as he tries to push on up here. Again, top 5 player. Facing off definitely a veteran player. But we're going to start seeing the knowledge and the information that Rock has. That Bible that he has in pocket unfolds here in just a second. Hunter in the mix. Lead Rangers up front. Going to be unlocked here. 1 sniper in the mix. Warthog. Viability comes down on the anvil. Hunter's going to be focused. Hunter was picked up by Rock to be able to try and counter that Warthog. Rangers here to deal with the infantry. The beam comes down on the choke point, and that's going to be focused on the Warthog to pop its shields. Mars splits out of it perfectly, and he's going to opt in for a counter scatter bomb, but that's going to be countered by an extract from Rockgeneration, sitting at 33 pop, spending every single dollar on counter units, and the pressure's still going to be up top mid from Mar007BR, who's going to clean out these 2 top minis. And look how far ahead Rockgeneration is ahead in the leader point department. He's been sitting on that beam for quite some time. He's about halfway to 4th point, and that's when it's going to get tough for Mar007BR here. 72 population from Mar007BR versus 37 out of Rock, but a lot of these are counter units for Rock. NGs are going to be focused. 2 NGs popped. 3rd one's going to be popped. Rangers sitting up top. Grenade throw coming out of the Forge player. Going to be focusing the Rangers. 36 pop versus 63. Rock floating a lot of yellow. Mar floating a lot of yellow. Sitting on 2 nodes respectively. Banshee's now trying to trickle in. And Rock desperately needs that 4th point. He's got to stay alive until that 4th point. He keeps bounding his units top mid. And Mar is microing his eyeballs out. Forge went home to go heal. Take a look back at Mar. He is going to be in T2 in 16 seconds. Opted in to pick up an expansion. This is the verbatim exact build and approach that he took with... Who did he play? I forgot who he played already. This is the exact same playstyle we've seen. Mar deleting those 2 top mid minis has now brought him back in contention with his leader points. He's just around the corner from getting his 4th point. And Rock is now saving up for his 4th point, trying to get some more counter units back online. He threw about 5 Rangers and 4 Hunters top mid. Forge still showing a dominant fashion, taking the node top mid as well. armory set down. He knows he's in T2. He's going to want to upgrade that leader. He's got his production points forward.
Constructed.
That's now 4th point for Rock, who's going to try to stop this oppressive gameplay here. 57 versus 51 pop. Viability comes down on the counter units. Spirit support still has not been dropped by Rock as he's sitting here trying to fight. He's going to lose a lot of his rangers. He's lost 3 rangers thus far. He cannot drop the spirit support in this fight here. Warthog shields are popped. Vetted units are now on the field. Warthog's going to be focused. He's going to be microed away to see if this drop is going to save him. And it looks like Rock's going to clean it on up. Lost a lot of rangers in that focus fight. 46 pop versus 32. And again, Mar is in T2, opting in for the Warthogs. Hasn't upgraded all of his macro, and that's the one thing that he keeps continuously doing, is not upgrading his macro to be able to afford what he wants to pump. Rock now trying to rebound here and take some map control. Doesn't have an expansion respectively of his own. Upgrading his own macro in the background. Spent every dollar on those counter units, and now on that drop. Hogs are online. Gonna have to start getting some hunters soaring on out here pretty soon. That's a double racks at home. Jump pack brutes are soaring on out to be able to clear top middle as well. He's gonna take those 3 nodes top middle back. Mar needs this forage hog back in the mix, and that's is on the field. We apply that defense aura buff. You see some snipers, hogs, and his leader. Another fight going down here. Scatter bomb comes down. Extraction is going to be popped on majority of those units. What a great extract. He's going to get a lot of those vetted units back, and Mar is going to try to press on forward here in the center. Another point comes online for Mar. We haven't seen his 4th point utilized. That might have been scattered too. We haven't seen him utilize maybe a Kodiak drop or a heal quite yet. But he is throwing everything front and center here as he fights this spirit support. That should be almost back online pretty soon. Like Rock's got enough counter units here. Prioritizing the Forge Hog. Forge Hog is going to fall. That debuff is now going to be gone, and these hunters can now start to milk all of these units here. They're the perfect composition to be melt any vehicles, especially with that vetted unit. Mar floating his extra point there. Got his rangers forward, trying to chase all of these units, get as much damage in as possible, focusing that Gale. Mar trying to micro respectively himself, but he's going to run back into those hunters. And then we're seeing 40 pop versus 70. Rock looking in a great position as he's taking this map control back from Mar007BR. The spirit support should be almost back online for Rock, and this might be the closing fashion here. Closing approach that he's going to want to take. Got to lose a couple more units to fill that spot. Again, he's got jump pack brutes. He wants to do his base damage. He's got his counter units on the field, but those don't do any base damage. And there's the Kodiak drop. That's going to be the 4th point coming out of Mar, and that was set in a defensive manner. Forge Hog is queued 29 seconds on out. Rock splitting up 2 hunters to try to do some pre-damage on those Kodiaks. But heavy metal is going to be popped preemptively as 2 hunters tried to soar on in and kill that. To kill those back Kodiaks. They're playing defense now. Bar finally upgrading all of his eco. And he spent that 5th point. We just didn't see... Oh, it was spent on heavy metal.
I'm under attack from enemy infantry.
Got top mid control. Or it doesn't have top mid control. It does have the 2 top minis. And then, again, Rock wanted to be able to close on that situation, but he's going to have to backtrack a little bit here and clean up some of the minis. Mar around the corner from being in T3.
Our base is under attack.
Rock finally building on his expansion. 2 points of production.
Under attack from enemy vehicles.
Now sitting at 12 minutes in game number 2 of the quarterfinals. Top 5 player, Rock, trying to display his dominance here. Anvil Rod comes down. That Forge Hog is going to be focus fired there. Kodiaks are just in range to be able to touch some of these units here. Extraction is back online. Scatter is there. It's going to be catch. That extraction is going to catch every single unit. Perfect extraction is here. Counter beam as well. Trying to pick these Gales because those are an issue. Great splits by Mar. Will lose 2 Gales. Couple of counter units still forward. Brutes are forward as well. Rock coming with the Suns. Continuously showing aggression top middle. He doesn't want to relinquish this map control anymore. Now clicked on T3. Floating a lot of blue. Probably going to set himself up for that Wraith reduction here pretty soon. Still pumping Hunters. Got to keep these counter units online because Forge's eco will always allow him to be able to pump exactly whatever he wants. One Kodiak finally moving on up. Trying to get the right composition here to push up top. A lot of Gales. But both these players need to increase their population count here pretty soon. Forge Hog coming back out in 3 seconds. Rox has the entire top mid control with all of the nodes. That's going to get him into T3. Get him the upgrades he needs. Spirit support continuously being dropped on the dot, on the dime. Grizzlies now being pumped for Mar007BR. The Kodiaks again just in range to be able to touch some of these some of this infantry, and they do a lot of damage. Vetted units forward. Engines need to rally on here as they push on up. Again, that defense aura is going to be fantastic for him. One Vulture in the sky is going to be set. Y ability is going to be popped on that Hunter. Heavy metal pop to try to keep his footing here. A lot of back and forth here, and that Vulture is going to make all the world of a difference as Mar is in the T3. Both these players again need to increase their population. Rock floating a lot of blue here. Spirit support is back online, setting a 3rd gen. Same amount of production points, a lot of leader powers popped. Spirit support basically the only thing online for Rockgeneration is that beam was already utilized as well as the extraction. Should be back online here pretty soon. Again, that leader applying that defense aura buff is so annoying. He keeps trying to focus fire that respectively, but this tank is doing a lot of damage. Vulture doing a damage as well. Superior support finally popped for Rock. Shroud in the mix to be able to stop some of the shots from the Kodiaks or the Forge Hog. A lot of micro back and forth here. Deleted a lot of those hogs forward. Got rid of the tank on the floor. Reaver's now following suit. And these Gales making a massive difference here. And Rock's still sitting front and center alongside Mar007BR as they go back and forth toe-to-toe here. 64 pop versus 76. Mar continuously pumping. Scatter bomb back online for Mar007BR. Extraction back online to counter that. There's the scatter. We saw a displace for those units away, and Rock set in some of that scatter bomb top mid, but he's still going to hold his footing here as he's trying to get rid of some of these Kodiaks that drop top mid. Rockgen now dipping into his bank here, upgrading his 3rd gen. A 3rd expansion has been picked up from Mar007BR. And still floating a lot of equal here and showing a lot of face up top mid. All of the nodes have been taken for Rock for quite some time here. That's all been invested into counter units. Wraith finally starting to come out. Spirit support was already popped. Rock has to play a little bit of defense here before he can push on up. Got to make a play with that beam and wait for his Spirit support to come back online. Get his Wraith numbers on up. Both these players still sitting at a cap of 80. I lied. Mar finally increased his population. He's going to try to take some map control. This is a great back and forth, and what a game for Mar. Let's watch Mar click here for some time here. Again, he's playing on mouse and keyboard. Everybody's on PC in this lobby. Rockgen top 5 player going toe-to-toe. Again, he's in the lead in this best of 5 series, sitting 1-0. But what a game number 2 here is that both of these players going back and forth. Shipmaster getting into T2 as fast as possible. playing T1 for Mar007BR, but he's caught up in the T2 department here. Now in T3 as well, pumping Grizzlies and Vultures. Both of these players had a great engagement top middle. Now it looks like both players are trying to fill their population the best that they can and wait for these leader powers to come back online. 98 pop versus 77. Mar showing his experience here with Forge. Probably one of his best leaders.
Our base is under attack. Fire base constructed.
Rock trying to claw his way back. He popped his displace. He has extraction in the pocket. He has a beam in the pocket. Spirit support is almost back online. Sitting at 80 population, trying to get a council up. Watch Rock click here for a second.
Under attack. Upgrade complete. The enemy has captured.
Now the map is entirely blue. Rock trying to keep busy and take that side node. He still needs a little bit more power income due to the not having nodes anymore. And this is the full push here from from Mar007BR as he's sitting in front of Rockgeneration, who has a shield. Heavy metal is popped. NG bubbles are popped as well as they are focus fired. Shield's gonna drop from Rockgeneration. All the units on the back end. Heavy metal was popped, but the beam wasn't utilized yet. Shroud in the mix to be able to stop some damage. Displacement back online for Rockgeneration. Scatterbomb comes down. Rock's just going to walk away from it. Those are upgraded units now. 93 pop versus 96. But a lot of it, you got displaced off to the side, and a lot of it's not here in the mix. Rock displaced some of those units and caught Mar off guard here. 87 pop versus 92, and that's a great bounce back for Rock. This is going to give him a footing back top mid, but this game is far from over. As Mar is holding $3 grand in the bank. Counter unit still trying to focus here, and a Grizzly drop's going to come front center to keep the footing. Extraction out of Rock because he cannot fight these vetted 1 Grizzlies. Gales are still alive. They were displaced, and that's going to keep everything alive here. Shield generator comes back online, but Rock has no longer anything in the toolkit to be able to deal with this. He has to keep kiting behind this shield, continuously use his micro to try to stop this heavy push with these beefy units. That's a lot of base damage. That's a lot of infantry damage. Beam comes down for Rockgeneration. That is a double beam. Splits coming out of Mar. Gonna focus 1 Grizzly, but that's has a defensive aura buff on it respectively. 98 pop versus 72. Rock dipping into his bank here. Mar still floating $3 grand. Mass cloaking is popped. Gales are here for the detection. Wow, and this just cluster of units here are just dominating. They're focusing all of the race, not worrying about the hunters because the Gales are keeping them alive. Smoke comes down so they cannot fire. Rock tries to back on up. And Rock's Expo is sitting at half health. This is barely game number 2. And what a spicy match we have thus far. That defensive aura is so annoying. Applying all these buffs to these vehicle units and nothing Rock can do. Now Kodiak sat in the background doing splash damage. Rock's going to tap on out, and that's going to take this series 1-1. And what a game! Oh god, I walked away for a second. It's definitely Rock Jetty. It's just the power of Forge. What a fantastic game too to watch, huh? Top 5 player going toe to toe with Mar, the novice champion. We've seen in past tournaments. I mean, I don't want to say Rock played greedy at all. It's just the power of Forge. That Forge Hog that applies all of those buffs to those vehicle units is insane. Sitting front and center with 3 Gales and wasn't taking any damage to counter. Vetted counter units. That is crazy. We're now going to kick games 3 off, going down on Rift. We see Mar. He's going to opt in for Cutter. Rockgeneration opting in for Anders. I'm sorry, I said Colony. They're not Colony. If you guys are enjoying the content, go ahead and hit !donate down below if you guys want to watch the bracket unfold in front of our eyes. Let me make sure I have my leaders all set. Cutter. Anders. What a fantastic game to watch. Let's watch game number 3 unfold in front of our eyes here. And we are seeing 2 UNSC leaders picked. That's going to be Cutter versus Anders. Rockgeneration opening up a double supply pad. Gen 3rd. Pathing units on the front side of the map. Going to send his opening unit, the Jackrabbit. Then it looks like he's opting in for a mini steal here. Mar barely got a glimpse of that rabbit. And he looks like maybe he didn't. He's in a position to be able to save that mini, but he's not going to be able to.
Generator constructed.
Mar trying to challenge for the yellow on Rock's perspective side. Then 3rd build. Rock's going to pick up his first mini. That's going to be stolen from Mar007BR.
Supply pad constructed. Our base is under
Watch
attack.
Rock click here. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the content,
Base complete.
yeah, ! Donate down below. Hit me with the follow. If you guys are watching on YouTube from Liam's channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And you guys can check us both out respectively on Twitch. Catch these games live. If you guys want to join Liam's Discord for some tips, tricks, go ahead and ask for that information down below on either platform. Like red and blue, both trying to get as much gas as possible here, trying to get that yellow income. We've seen a Rax 5th from out of Rockgeneration, finally picking up his back mini. A lot of micro going on. Taking his front bundle. Let's take a look at what Mar's got going on, how he's going to deal with this double stolen mini coming out of Rockgeneration.
Our base is under attack.
Buys Rock a lot of time. Be able to try to get into T2. That's where Anders shines the most. It's not necessarily T1. And those first 3 points, leader points, are not going to help you at all. But it's as you get into that later leader wheel, that's where she starts to shine. You either get the Kodiaks out or you try to get that quick Sentinel. And nabbing these minis and taking some nodes is definitely going to help you boost those leader points.
Marines under hostile vehicle.
Our base is under attack. Mini base complete.
Like a leader 5th. And a Rax 6th.
Somebody want to take out those vehicles?
Actually, leader 4th? I don't know. Wasn't paying attention. Rabbits coming out of Rockgeneration, the Anders player, who now has a dominant map control here. Still needs a lot of time to get these number count up. Problem is going to be this unit right here. To get a nice slam, he's going to be able to possibly pick 2 rabbits here, and that's expensive for Rock. Anders does get the cheap upgrades, and that's a sign from Mar007BR. He's now going to start replacing his population with Marines. Slow down on the counter unit production, as he saw a couple of rabbits on the field. Mar now sitting on second point. Rockgeneration halfway to his third point. Take a look back at home for Rockgeneration. Had a couple of rabbits on the field, and is now replacing his population with Marines. No double gen set quite just yet. Both of those minis are in dire situations. He's going to lose those two overextended minis, and we're probably going to see some natural flow out of both of these players. Snipers are on out for Rockgeneration. That's going to be 3 of them. No double gen set, no extra macro being upgraded quite yet. Double racks being set for Rockgen. And here comes the push from Mar007BR, who's feeling a little comfy here, a little froggy. He's going to try to push on up because he has that leader, but he's going to get met by some snipers, and those are great splits from Rockgeneration. Slam and Mine comes down on the bulk of units here. Snipers trying to get out of town. Mar's own respective snipers in the mix as well, and this is going to allot him full dominance here. He's got that leader in tow, front and center. And Rock can't deal with it. The only thing he can do is pop shots from the high ground on a defensive manner. Rockgeneration on the cusp of third point. Mars getting super aggressive here, taking a lot of shots from these snipers, but he wants a little bit of vision here as he creeps up on third point. Great splits by Rock, but still focus firing all of these snipers out. Wow, out of Mar007BR. Rock trying to wiggle to keep his units alive. Watch as he wiggles. Definitely controller wiggle. More snipers coming on in. Third point. 4 Anders online. See if it's going to be arc defense. Maybe a heal. Maybe a turret. Again, the problem is going to be this unit right here. That leader. He's ever so trying to keep it alive. He's trying to focus fire it. That's been a lot of snipers out of Rockgeneration. If we look at his 24 pop, and he's almost completely broke. And Blue is sitting front and center here. On the cusp of third point, but can't afford it just quite yet. This is crazy. Rock stealing all of these minis, decided to go double snipers, and was caught with an aggressive push from Cutter. Take a look at back home for Cutter, who has that ODST in pocket, but he can't afford it. Still pumping his own respective snipers. He's going to want to push back on in. This second gen is definitely going to help him traject himself to the population count that he wants to get to. Rock's still chasing with these snipers. He knows those red bar units were there. Cutter's going to still run away. Rock's going to get this ping that leader is that far ahead. See if he continues to push on in here. Rock finally sacking that racks. Going to get a second gen up, so unit preservation is going to be key here. 2 snipers still chasing. If Mar can afford his ODST, and that garrison's gonna allot a great footing for Rockgeneration, and that's gonna force Mar007BR to back on up. And what a great play from Rock! Oh, Rock sees it. Okay, Mar cheekily trying to expand right in front of Rockgeneration. It looks like he's gonna have to cancel that pretty soon. Let's take a look back at home for Rockgeneration. Again, unit preservation is going to be the key here. Sneaky flamer coming around the back end. Turret coming down respectively for the Anders player. Mar's going to cancel that expansion if he opts in for it one more time. Mar floating a lot of blue here. He's got to fill some more pop, and he's got to be able to get this ODST on out. Mar is now kicking on T2. He's held this overextended node for quite some time.
Our base is under attack. Turret constructed.
Back and forth. Both these players pushing each other back and forth on each respective side of the map. Second turret comes on up. Rock trying to come on home to deal with this flamer. A couple of snipers coming on home as well. Gonna want to get into T2 the fastest as possible. He's been spending all that money on counter units. He has to catch up here. Sees 2 turrets. Mars sees 2 turrets on Rock's main base. He's gonna have to back on out. Still has a great amount of snipers and a leader. Just gonna have to start taking this map now. Finally opting in to expand in front. Is in T2. Has an armory set down. Again, the second generator is off to the side on this mini. Rock has a Jackrabbit on the high ground. He's going to be able to scout that. Still has this Marine in this garrison as well. That's going to allow him to see vision for that side base. He does know that Mar is expanding. It's not in final form here to be able to try to contest for it. Again, trying to fill his population with Marines. He's going to have to take some nodes, but Cutter's been on top of that.
Our base is under attack.
Cutter finally backtracking. Anders trying to grab some of those just around the corner from T2. And Mar has to know what's coming. He is playing against an Anders, and Anders shines in that mid-game as you kind of bound towards the late game. So, third gen set from a Cutter player. Supply pads being upgraded, air pads being set. More production on the back end. And Rock has this this unit on high ground. He knows exactly what's going on for Mar.
Supply pad upgrade complete.
In the series is tied at 1-1. This is a best of 5, and both these players showing definitely their high-end caliber here.
Supply pad constructed.
Rock voting a lot of blue. Definitely going to want to invest into some vehicles. Most likely going to be garages being set down. Possibly some Kodiaks, followed by some late hogs. Does have a nice bulk of counter units. Deal with some infantry, which Cutter is inevitably going to push. But do have an air pad and a garage set.
Supply pad constructed.
Macroed all of his main. Still has an unmacroed spot in the back. He is macroing up front. Has two nodes in the center. Rock has taken the wing nodes, his respective first node. Finally seeing another push here. Gale in the sky and a couple of snipers.
Combat station upgrade complete.
Rock on the high ground respectively as well.
Supply pad upgrade complete.
Bit of a sniper battle here. Smoke comes on top mid. Tries to smoke his own unit, but again, these snipers have detect a lot of back and forth here. So let's see this. Anders micro. ODST comes on the bulk with the slam as well. It's going to catch a good sized chunk of that army.
Kodiak here, sir.
Heard the Kodiaks coming out for Rockgeneration. He is sitting on that 4th point. He's going to have to posture these Kodiaks in a defensive manner and slowly crawl his way on up. As Anders is forced into a back corner, finally getting his leader on out, and that's going to make a world of a difference. Mar's sitting on an expansion for quite some time now. Trying to get some Hornets in the mix. He knows what's coming. And he's sitting on his 5th point. He's still holding that in pocket. I doesn't know if he wants to use it for the cast or his big drop. Also going to want to probably increase his population here pretty soon. But again, name of the game is going to be the Kodiaks for Anders. As these units continuously pump on out. He's got a couple of snipers for some vision, for some anti-infantry pop shots. And then the Kodiak splash in the background is going to be devastating to a large infantry play. Watch as Rock tries to posture up here. Watch him click around and on the back end, on the back foot here, trying to make a comeback. Don't see the Sentinels come out. That should be another sign from Mar007BR as well. It's 12 minutes in the game and Anders does not have those Sentinels coming out of the Kodiaks. What is that going to do the math for? It's most likely going to be a Sentinel drop. Rock has enough units in the right positions to play some defense. So he's going to opt in to take his respective first expansion there. See Rock posturing up. Best that he can to turtle up here. Mar's trying to swing on the back end here, floating a lot of eco. He's got enough for that big drop. Let's see if got Vultures. He's in T3 as well. Again, Mar playing his Cutter a little bit like Forge here. Again, he doesn't have the defensive aura. One Kodiak was up front. 4th point there. That's the cast that's going to be popped there. One Kodiak's going to be taken for splash damage. Rock's going to be fully pushed in here. Let's see how he responds. He's got to drop that Sentinel in. There it is. See if he utilizes it for a defensive manner. A lot of Gales in the sky. Hornets here. 73 population versus 39, and a big chunk of that is going to be that leader along with the Sentinel.
Supply pad constructed.
Gas is going to pick up all the turrets. They're going to continue doing base damage here. Rock is completely broke. He needs every single slot, and he's starting to lose some of those slots there. That big drop is still in pocket for Mar, but he hasn't lost any of his unit composition here. Focus fire is going to be on that leader as Mar continues to strip Rockgeneration here. Dougie's shields are going to be popped. Jerome's going to be sitting here fighting the Sentinel on his own. 99 out of 100 versus 39 pop. Again, Rock cannot build anything. He's completely being pushed in here. Let's see if this one unit can save him. Viability from the Sentinel comes down.
Turret constructed.
Great splits by Mar. Not going to take too much damage.
Upgrade complete.
Rock has been completely stripped on his main. Combat tech, some Gales, some Hornets. Third drop comes down as he's trying to keep this unit alive. Douglas is in the garrison. He's trying to kite around that leader, trying to get away from these units that are focusing this Sentinel. Mar down to 70 population. He's going to pop right back up to 90 as the big drop comes on home for the main here. Viability from Douglas is going to steal the tank. Keep rocking this fight.
I'm getting shot at by ground troops.
Our base is under attack.
Where are those vultures at? There they are. Dougie's still in the fight. Jerome's still in the fight. Sentinel trying to get its shields back up.
Supply pad
He's sitting at less than a third health. Main is sitting at less than half health. Expansion is being challenged by vultures. Shields back on up for the Sentinel. Anti-air turret online for Rockgeneration. Rock has 300 and 300 of each, blue and yellow. Smokes his main as a Nightingale pops on out from the front end. More vultures rallying on in for Mar007BR.
From enemy air units.
83 out of 100 population. Wolves trying to back on out. Reinforcements, a second reinforcement is coming online.
Wolverine here. Show me the target.
Red bar base completely stripped. Whose heal is that? That better not be. Oh, I thought that was a Mar heal. Oh, God, I thought this was gonna get spicy. Oh, I thought it was gonna get disrespectful. Viability comes down on the main. Mar doing his best, trying to close this game out, but Rock poking and prodding with that one unit, being super annoying. Jerome making the world of a difference here. Everything focusing the expansion here, and Rock's main is completely stripped. Douglas is back on out in 20 seconds. Can he delete this base in 20 seconds? Wow, and now this is going to take this series 2-1 in a best of 5. Rock on the plank now. Mar shining here. He takes game number 3 that went down on Rift. We're now going to switch gears and go over to Mirage, another aggressive map. Another map you do get punished for making a lot of mistakes. Again, no node strat, no Vori, no repeats, 60-minute timer, 30-second penalty. If you do DC, you will forfeit that match. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are enjoying the content, exclamation point, donate down below. This is Liam's tournament that is going down. We are in the quarterfinals. If you guys want to see the bracket live, type exclamation point bracket down below. And if you're following along on YouTube at a later date, don't forget to subscribe. Try to catch some of this content live. Definitely an experience. Definitely super fun to watch. You can follow either of us on our respective Twitch channels. Twitch.tv/LethalF, baby. Thank you for the follow, Lava. Mar Thinking about what leader he needs to utilize to try to close this series out against the infamous Rock Generation. Again, a top 5 player. Don't know how active he's been in the last month or so, maybe 2 months, but tournament brought him out of the woodworks. Showed a dominant fashion in game number 1 of that Desi match. What a great game number 2 going down on Frontier. A lot of back and forth, toe to toe. A Power of Forge is going to overwhelm the Shipmaster in a 20-minute series. Watch Anders cripple as an aggressive cutter. Going to take that W respectively for Mar. Rock Generation now opting in for his own respective cutter. Probably one of his best leaders that I can see. Mar opting in for his colony. We've seen Mar pick the exact same leaders on the exact same maps, except for that Rift game. So I'm opting for cutter, switch things up a little bit, caught Rock off guard. The score is now 2-1. Rock is on the plank, opening up a double supply pad, Jackrabbit. And cutter versus colony. Scores 2-1 in a best of 5 quarterfinals. What am I doing? Put on follow mode and make sure my casting tool is updated. Cutter versus colony. Rock on the plank. Gotta pull it together here. Double supply pad. Let's see what the defensive Jackrabbit immediately tried to pick up his side minis. So the name of the game here is going to be Choppers, Skitterers, and how is Rock going to defend against that? Gen 3rd build, Gen 2nd build. We know exactly what Mar's going to do. He's very repetitious. Doesn't have a different play style in his toolkit, but he's finally unlocked a couple of leaders here, and we do know that he likes to go Council 5th with some NGs in the sky. Possibly some grunts, possibly some choppers, whatever's left on over to rally on in as he tries to push on that 3rd point. See how Rock tries to deal with this. Again, he's on the plank. He wasn't pressured. He's normally expecting a colony to try to fork his power or his mini base, and he was able to get both, which is definitely a plus for Rock Generation. Setting his scout unit top mid to help share some of that gas up top, which the colony player dearly needs to try to get that Council 5th leader out immediately. So he upgraded a 2nd pad here and still built a Council 5th. So he could have been able to get this leader out now, but he decided to upgrade that pad. So that's going to be delayed a little bit longer. And Rock has now come take a scout, and he notices that Mar doesn't have his mini base because he took the top middle mini. Rock's in a great position to be able to respectively take that mini. That's going to be more points of production for him. Armory off to the side. Did take that mini top, to the top right. So now they're not tied in minis, but they are tied in slots. Brax is going to be top mid. Probably going to see an Apex somewhere. No, it's a double Rax. Mark veering off from his playstyle a little bit here. Normally gets those NGs in the sky. He's probably reckoning that they're going to be popped by Marines. And no node strat. Cutter is one of them that can node strat. Rock playing like a gentleman, not like a rat. Mar floating a lot of blue here. Needs to start filling this population. Again, he doesn't have that many points of production. One less slot, or one less base less than Rock. But again, this double mini is going to equal the same amount of slots. So the same amount of income for both of these players. But for those core units can be less production. We know that leader is on out. Let's watch Mar click here. Again, he's mouse and keyboard. He's not a controller player. And both these players on PC. Scores 2-1. Rock's got to play it nice and slow here. Got to do a little bit of population control. He's got to do a little bit of a macro hit. A colony player is slow, especially if he doesn't pick up choppers, and it looks like he's not picking up choppers. He's opting in to fill his population with grunts, so it's going to be hard to chase those Marines, especially those cutter Marines. Overextending while trying to defend as well, trying to clean up his side of the map. These are live clicks from Mar007BR. Leaders coming on home. Everything for Rock is bulked up here and trying to rally on in.
Base is under attack.
We see a split attack coming out of Mar007BR. Got the offensive mini here. I mean the offensive push onto Rock's mini. He's got his leader at home, and he's got another small hit squad coming off to the side to pressure Rock's second natural mini. He's gonna clear that first one. And he's now gonna start pushing on. Look at the timing he has here. Look at how he's on the cusp of getting his leader point. He's almost the third point. And he's pressuring both minis. Every time you kill a mini and you take a node, it's gonna boost you that much more in your department. Rock's sitting on 2 generators, and he's gonna have to fly on home here with that UNSC raid as that heal is in pocket for Mar. And 3 Goliaths are here as they push on into this advanced generator. His 4th point's gonna be online any second, or 3rd point's gonna be online any second here. And if Rock doesn't get home here ASAP, this could be an issue. Rock is now in T2. He has 2 nodes. ODST comes down on top. Hunter's Brand's gonna come down to effectively take that last generator that he did the pre-damage on. He knows he's going to lose these units. So he solidified that gen drop and that supply drop with the Hunter's Brand. It's not going to be the drop. Rock's going to come home and be able to stop this push, but he will lose a supply pad and a generator. But he is in Tech 2. He has lost his 2 minis on his natural side. He's going to be forced to try to take those on back. Colony leader, is he T2? Oh, look at that health bar in T1. Jesus Christ. Mar saving up for his 5th slot. Got rid of that council, but he can't build because he spent a lot of money on that heal and that drop. But he's now going to get a little froggy here, as he's going to try to clean up some of these units that want to clean up the minis on Rock's respective side. But that leader is going to be on home. Rock's going to have to come home and defend against this. Air pad's coming on up. Supply pad's going to replace that 2nd generator. Rock's going to be forced to come on home here. Anti-infantry turret is being upgraded. Mar almost on his 4th point, but Rock's definitely got to come home to deal with this. He cannot sleep on these units that are sitting at his main base. Again, the focus is going to be this generator once more. This is crazy. 4th point's online. More base damage here. Sui's in the mix. More mines set on the corner. Anti-infantry in the turret. Smoke goes down. Runts run into the mines. Leader's sitting in smoke. The drop is put on in front of Rockgeneration. He's going to throw away those units. Started off trying to get the node. Rock smoked his own turret. Wow, and that might have been a micro error from Mar. Could have easily taken down that generator and that supply pad respectively. See if he's looking, he's in T2, finding down a 2nd generator. He's still far away from T2, but he's got pure map control. He's every single mini. He's taken Rock's node. He's sitting on 2 on his own. Rock is left with 1 node. This leader is the last issue for Rockgeneration as he pushes on up, but he did lose a lot of his heavy supply pads. Rock hurting in the blue department because he doesn't have any slots whatsoever. Holy cow. Wow, and Mar being super annoying here. That Uno's being focused, but he hit his Y ability, which is going to debuff these units, and then hit a heal. Smoke comes down from the Nightingale. Units are trying to sit in their own respective heal. That's going to be 4th point from Rockgeneration. We saw ODST. We didn't see an Archer missile. We didn't see a Cyclops drop, so that's definitely going to be a heal pickup from Rockgeneration. Again, no map control. He finally deleted that leader. Mar getting into tech himself. 2 upgraded supply pads, 2 upgraded gens. Harvesters on everywhere. Production forward and council sitting top mid. A little bit of a dicey play, but again, these minis are going to buy him some time as Rock does have to clear out those minis. He needs slots. He needs an expansion. Mar opting in for an expansion. That's going to be immediately scouted by Rock, who's positioned himself to be able to get sights on that side wing there, that side base. And Mar going toe-to-toe with the infamous Rockgeneration. Is it? This matchup is very hard for Rock to deal with, and he's trying his best here to stay in this game. 42 pop versus 47. Colony's now in T2, setting down a foundry. Mar cleaning up one side of his minis respectively, setting majority of his units top mid, letting off his leader to try to pick some units that were overextended.
Mini base complete.
Both these leaders have a chunky 5th point drop.
Outpost constructed.
Again, production forward, Rangers coming on out. Even though the Gale's in the sky, I don't think the
Base.
Marines with no nades can fight that. Rock has not upgraded to nades yet. Another harvester point, one production point at home. Another production
Armory constructed.
top mid. Another ODST bunch has been dropped in on Mars expansion. Mars just trying to get the perfect unit composition. Not microing so much anymore. He's just trying to get his leader on out, trying to get it upgraded.
Our base.
And trying to get some skitterers on it so he can show a nice face again.
Under attack.
That expansion is going to be denied. But are now playing how Cutter should be. Unpredictable. All over the place. Now trying to work on the macro hits more so than fighting heads up. Rockgeneration floating his 5th point. Mar about to get his 5th point. Both players are not just quite yet able to afford it.
Leader point. Earned. Our base.
God, this little hit squad right here is going to be massive for Rockgen if this pushes onto the main. 5th point now online for Mar. 5th point online for Rockgen. And see how this plays out. Again, Rock has to win this game to stay in this series to take it to a best of 5. He's now getting in his cutter bag. He's now going to start soaring around and stop fighting. Colony heads up, but Colony's going to keep his foot in his throat and continuously press these minis. Mars Hunter's Brand comes down top mid. A little bit of a desperate Hunter's Brand. No units to follow up that push. The leader is now rallied with plenty of ODSTs. 5 ODSTs with 3 Gales in the sky. This little army will not die so fast. Now here comes the base trade scenario. Mar pushing on in. He is not saved up for his 5th point drop, but 3 turrets are there. He realizes the mistake that he has made. He's opted in to pick up an expansion instead. Rock doing some population control top middle. Deleted that top mid. He's catching some units off guard here. Little Rangers and Marauders caught off guard. Mars in a great position, but his macro is just not allowing him to be able to do it exactly what he wants to do. Godmondo, thank you for the follow, brethren. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the content, exclamation point, donate down below. Exclamation point bracket if you want to follow the bracket live. We are in quarterfinals here. Mar versus Rock. Mar in the lead 2-1. Game number 4. Rock has to win this to be able to stay in contention for today's tournament.
Our base is under
Mar just showing up playing very, very well today.
Troops, I need support ASAP.
Again, Mar trying to save up, trying to get his expansion online.
Limited harvester upgrade
We
complete.
see 5th point is not utilized for the big drop. It's actually healing his base, so he's on combat repair to try to keep his buildings alive. Both these players consistently trading minis back and forth. And Rock has got mines everywhere. He's got anti-everything everywhere. And Colony trying to find some units to fight, but Rock consistently dodging him left and right.
Here, need repairs?
Now overextended once more to deny that expansion once more. Rock saving up every single dollar, making a little bit of room here. That wombo comp of ODST and the ODC assault group is going to cost nearly $3,000. $4,500 if he wants to drop in the cast as well. Shield gen at home just in case for for Mar007BR. And this is the desperation. This is Mar getting a little antsy. He needs this leader alive, and look how fast it's lost its shields. He's trying to continue to hurt Rock's eco as well.
leader point earned.
Hunter's Brand comes down on the anti-infantry turret. Another one in the backside. Rock rallying on home here. Once smoke comes down, he's going to lose one anti-infantry turret. But if he kills this leader, Rock's in a great spot. Look at his eco. He's saving up a ton of money here. That's part of the wombo combo. ODST.
Our base
Wow, the Y ability. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, the Y ability from the leader is going to opt in for a stun. ODST is going to apply another stun. All the satchels were set down. Lotus Mines to back on up to seal the deal. There's the big drop from Rockgen, who's now sitting at 78 pop. Rock playing this nearly the best that he can in this very, very hard matchup. He now has a lot of counter units, a ton of ODST for some base damage. And we're now seeing 78 population versus 40. The big drop obviously in pocket for Mar. Rock's got the perfect composition here to pretty much fight anything or do a lot of base damage.
We're being shelled by the enemy.
Augmented harvester upgrade complete.
Mar floating a massive bank, but it takes 900 power to be able to drop in that unit. Look at him as he starts to overextend here. He's just shy, just of 100 power, 150 power. He wants to make this play happen, but Rock, again, sitting in a perfect spot to be able to defend if that does happen. Sight lines are not...
Our base.
Wow, the council's there, so Rock is now cleaning up his side of the map.
Their troops are attacking us.
Random Reaver showing on up. There's the dev host, but again, Rock has the perfect composition to come home and try to defend against this. Heal is popped. 2 anti-vehicle turrets are there. The first Wraith is in peril. 4 mines come on down. Gale's trying to heal some things up. 2 turrets have fallen. 1 Wraith is going to be stolen. The other is going to be Red Bar. Another desperate push. Mar trying his best to just close out this game, but Rock, again playing one of his best leaders, is able to deny that push, and that is the last of the gimmicks coming out of the colony player. Doesn't have his leader on out, doesn't have enough counter units on out, used his big drop.
Attacked by enemy troops.
Our base. They attack.
And this looks like this might go to a game 5. Rock's defended perfectly. All of his drops are back on the timer for the next engagement, as he's going to want to push back on in. Heal comes down to try to heal up that mini.
Our base. Assailed.
Rock doing population control top mid, as well as taking the map back. As one of his nodes cleaning up his mini is opted in for an expansion. Yeah, look at Rock, should be almost in T3.
Leader power ready.
Getting those infantry upgrades.
Our allies are in trouble. Supply
Mar now
constructed.
building his own respective wraiths, but not a lot of slots anymore. Still floating a bunch of eco here. It looks like he's kind of stuck. Maybe he's ran out of ideas. Again, Rock playing in his bag. He knows exactly what to do and how to play defense. Like another overextension to some pre-damage is going to take another gen, but Rock is floating so much eco. Mar as well, respectively. Mar is in T3, just doesn't have any slots to be able to pump anything. He needs his leader on out. He's only got 1 slot that's overqueued. He doesn't have an expansion. He's trying his best. He's trying to make lemonade out of lemons here. And Rock's just taking it nice and slow here, waiting for his drops to get back on up. Got the ultimate in pocket, spending all the money that he can to start to macro.
Know where I'm needed.
Mini base complete.
Bought all of his turrets back online.
Supply pad upgrade complete.
And now we're going to see Rock try to take that 50 marker at the top mid control.
Our allies are in trouble.
I'm receiving fire from enemy ground troops. Nightingale here.
Reinforcements level 1 research.
That is now 73 out of 100. Reinforcements are online. We're watching Rockgeneration click live here.
Need some
Supply pad
As
constructed.
he's now cleaned up his side of the map. Consistently dropped defensive mines. Plays really, really quick. Trying to take this top mid control. And there's not much more Mar can do. Mar literally needs an expansion. He needs slots. He doesn't have any minis anymore. Doesn't have any slots to pump from.
I'm under attack from ground troops.
Got a little desperate with his drop. Did get them back on a timer, but let's take a look at Mar's eco here. 73 out of 80 population. Shield at home, still overqueuing some wraiths. Trying to get some reavers in the mix as well. This base locked? Where's his 80 pop? Oh, I'm bugging. He's got a scarab 72 seconds out. Okay. Okay. But he desperately needs that leader out. He had a council off to the side, but he lost that mini. He's got one here at home. Now he's going to turtle up, going into kaboom mode. And Rock's going to continue taking the map here, as he's desperately trying to take his... It took that long to kill that ranger in the garrison. He's wanted this mini for quite some time. One vetted Reaver off to the side, being chased down. Rock covering all angles here. He doesn't want any more cheeky plays. He's got mines on the each back end, because that's going to be the pathing points for any overextended units. Cyclops split off here.
Leader power ready.
Sitting in a great spot. Now Rock's game to lose.
Repairs?
In a 60-minute timer, if you know, Colony does try to turtle up here. Vehicle upgrades. We're seeing the Scarab come on out. We're seeing focus beams coming out. That leader's going to follow right behind that Scarab. 3 skits are postured up to keep that alive. One random Wraith here and there. Rock's still soaring for units, but the map is becoming very red along that 50 marker side.
Assail.
Under fire from enemy troops! Hold! Hold!
Leader power awaits.
Watch as Mar clicks here. He's going to want to push inevitably. And now this expansion is going to be pressured from Rockgeneration.
Our base.
Scarab is in the mix. It's got the Skitterers on top. A couple of Reavers in the mix. A couple of Wraiths. Let's see how this plays out. Boat comes down. Scarab turns around to fight. Shield is procced. Hunter's Brand comes down. Heal comes down to keep everything alive. Rock pops his own respective heal. Reavers are in the mix, getting rid of the Gales. No more smokes from Rockgeneration. One more pop. Scarab is still sitting in. Satchel's being set down. Trying to do as much damage to this unit as possible. 85 pop versus 72. Leaders now here in the mix respectively as well. Heal is starting to go away. Reavers pick the last, or one more Gale still alive. Leaders pick that. More base damage dropped in here for Mar007BR. 80 population versus 81. That expansion is not looking in a good spot. Rock is going to pick up his natural expansion as well as the cheeky one off to the side. Take a look back at home for Mar007BR. No more reinforcements in the background. Maybe? Yeah, reinforcements in the background. And his devastating host is almost back online here. He took the perfect timing of that engagement. Rock was out of position. Lost a lot of his population. Trying to replace it back with the Gales. He needs those Gales to be able to smoke that Scarab and get some damage in.
Under fire from ground troops!
Still does have that hijack from his Spartan. Mines come on down to get some more pre-damage in. Again, combat repair is online as well. Leaders up front, probably going to get a Y ability off. Everything's going to turn, and look at the Hunter Captain. Hunter's Band was already utilized. ODST mine, Satchel's there. Another stun from the ODST. 91 pop versus 80. Shield is almost online for that Scarab as well. More Satchels being thrown on the leader. Archer missile comes down. A Vulture missile comes popping on in, but that's going to be negated. ODST assault group now focusing the leader. Has already used his Y ability. Mars overstayed his welcome here. Still trying to sit front and center. Got a couple of Wraiths and one Reaver in the mix. Devastating Host should be almost online, but he's a little shy in the yellow department to be able to pump that drop on out. Scarab is still looking really healthy. Sitting in his smoke, not able to attack anymore. Free damage is being popped from Rockgeneration. And Rock used every single combo that he had there, and this Scarab is still alive. Mar still has that drop in pocket. Just can't afford it yet. He's just around the corner from it. Hunter's Brand is back online. It's going to be dropped in the middle of that army there. And those are like 5 ODST satchels there. That could be devastating if that Scarab walks into it. Mar is now picking up his own respective expansion. That's where he spent the money. He's trying to get his leader back on. He's got to get a couple of skitterers. And what a push by Mar. Rock can no longer be soaring around and doing macro hits anymore. Mar has cleaned up his side of the map. He's taken over another mini. He's got his macro upgraded. He just needs skitterers on home. And he still has the devastating host in pocket. Rock has all of his drops back on the timer. His third expo with an extra generator is being hit. That's going to be the third generator. Rock's still floating a lot of eco, sitting on 90 population, and it's all right here. ODSTs and a lot of Cyclops. Rock is still in T2. He doesn't have the shock rounds to try to keep up with this Scarab, stun it. Smoke comes down. Leader's back in the mix. NGs are in the sky this time. And there's the big drop. No, that's the Goliath drop. NGs are in the mix, able to heal up his units. A random drop to be able to make his army look a little beefier than it really is. Tank peeled off to do some base damage. One NG to come defend it. And Rock is in a position to be able to either base trade or play defense. He's going to have to make a decision here pretty soon. He's going to definitely want to deny this expansion because that Scarab looks like it's trying to posture to take his own expansion.
Supply pad constructed.
Then it's going to be a battle of the minis and the battle of the mains. Rox's drops are going to be back online here pretty soon, and he's got to save every single dollar. Again, he has 94 pop. Mar has 96 respectively. I hope nothing is inside of here. Mar's going to lose his expansion pretty quick. And let's see if they go for each other's mains.
Our base. They attack.
Why did you time out Jetty, bro?
At hand.
Rock still in T2. Finally clicking on T3. He needs those shock rounds to be able to freeze that Scarab.
Our base. Assailed.
Mar is still filling up his entire population with everything that he can, getting his vehicle upgrades too now, and some of these units are going to get a little scary. He's got enough NGs in the sky, and Rock is forced on defense here.
Researched.
He needs upgraded vehicle turrets to be able to deal with that Scarab, and he's got to time out these Gales perfectly. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Gales in the sky, and only Cyclops and ODST. Another Cyclops dropped on in. One watchtower being focused there. Mines come on in. Hunter's Brand trying to catch the middle, countered by a heal. Scarab shield is popped. Jesus Christ, if this doesn't sum up Halo Wars 2 battle right here, this is it right here. Massive armies, a huge Scarab in the mix. And now, Mar007BR is sitting front and center in front of Rockgeneration's base. One tank from the drop is going to be overextended to take a mini. Mars postured right in front, sitting at 27 minutes of this game number 4 here. Rock has to make a play. He has to win this series. I mean, this game to stay in the series.
Our base is under attack.
Nightingale under assault from enemy troops. Need support.
Here's the push. Rockgeneration floating 4 grand. Has all of his drops in pocket. Mar pushing on up, floating a lot of blue. That's going to be the cast, and that's going to force Colony to walk away. Heal comes down respectively as he's trying to back on up. Reaver is being auto-focused. NGs are still in the mix.
The enemy attacks.
Multiple bases being picked up for Mar. Trying to spend his eco. Still hurting in the yellow department. Doesn't have a third generator online.
Constructed.
He finally got 120 population. He's going to continue to bulk on up here.
Harvester constructed.
Here's the push on in again. One smoke comes down, stops some pre-damage. Satchel's being thrown down in the smoke. Another Goliath drop here.
Harvester constructed.
And the shock rounds are now online for Rockgeneration, and that's what he's needed for about 8 minutes now to be able to fight this. ODST dropped to try to catch the Scarab. The shield is coming back online here. It's going to stomp all over those mines. It's going to stomp on some of those ODST units. 110 pop versus 84. ODST has been utilized. A couple of tanks in the mix. Another Cyclops drop comes down. ODST Satchel still in the smoke. Scarab is back on up. Now hovered over by some NGs. No NG procs either. Well, Leader has not utilized his Y ability. Last scale finally falls. 68 pop versus 96. Big drop still in pocket for Mar. 4 bases. Look at the bottom right hand corner. Big drop comes down on the Scarab. No more Y ability. Gonna get stomped out by the Scarab. Leader's rallying back on home for the Y ability possibly. Again, these Cyclops. There's the Y ability from the Leader. Heal comes down to try to preserve some of these units. No more Gales. Satchel in on the Leader. Shield procced by the Scarab. Y ability from the Gale one more time to smoke the unit. Hunter's Brand in the middle of those units. 75 pop versus 84. Mar cannot afford his big drop just quite yet. He's trying to run away. He's got 1 NG in the sky. A lot of Cyclops here to keep freezing the Scarab with those shock rounds. Scarab's probably going to try to turn on around, and continuous satchels being thrown down over and over and over. NG finally procs the bubble to reduce some of that damage. Archer missile comes down. Oh my god, we just watched Rock give up here as he lost his last remaining units, and that's going to be handed over to Mar007BR in the quarterfinals. The top 5 player is now going to drop out of the tournament for contestant to make it to finals. Wow, what a series and what a game. Mar playing absolutely fantastic, showing out today. GG's, gentlemen, well played. Jesus Christ.